ex-wife left me for my best friend, and he grabbed me by the neck when I confronted her, so I did this. I'm 47, male. My ex-wife, 48, left me a year and a half ago for a man who was married to her high school best friend. What kind of friend is that? We had been married for 20 years and I thought we had 2 children together. Recently, I found out that my 6-year-old daughter isn't mine, she's his. She knew this from the very start of the pregnancy and kept it from me. It's my name on the birth certificate, and I do intend to fight for custody. She might not be my blood, but that's my daughter. The birth certificate is a legally binding document. This affair had been going on for quite some time. Finding out was a brutal shock. When I asked her if it was him or me, she said it was him because he could get it right back up after sex and go again. That's the only reason. Forget the fact that I worked 2 jobs to put her through school and continued supporting her so she could stay home, raise our kids, and cheat on me. I gave up chasing my dreams and music career for her so she could pursue hers and have a family. They've always been the most important thing in my life. My ex has always been cold. She's bipolar, and life wasn't always easy. Her outbursts and physical and emotional abuse were crushing, but I endured it because I thought she couldn't control it. Turns out, that wasn't entirely true. She admitted to friends that she often punched me because she felt like it, or wasn't getting her way. Our kids witnessed her hitting and verbally abusing me several times. Each time, I took it without fighting back, even though I hated that they had to see it. Towards the end, she was angry at me for not taking the trash out immediately when I got home. She grabbed me by the neck and started squeezing while my son stood there, horrified. I told her, "Our son will always remember this," and she let me go. I should have left long ago, I know that now. I like to think if it weren't for my children, I would have, but I didn't want them to have a broken home. I held on to the hope that someday she'd be the woman I fell in love with again. I know now those days are gone and have been for years after everything was exposed. My wife sat down with the friend whose husband she was cheating with and told her point blank, "Yes, it's true. No, I'm not sorry." Then she got up and walked away. I was told this by her friend. My wife left, took the kids, and moved in with him, into an apartment just behind the one we shared. Even then, I held on to hope she would see the grass wasn't greener with him. He had cheated on his own wife multiple times, besides with my wife, and she knew this. I waited the entire first year, hoping she would come back. She kept the apartment keys, and I assumed she held on to them because she planned to return, but after that year, their cruelty began again. He started dropping by the bus stop as I was putting the kids on the bus for school, telling me, "I've come to see my daughter off to school, not your daughter, mine." I told him, "Then why were you so content for the past 5 years? To let me raise her, let her have my last name, be there at her birth, and raise her as mine. Where were you? Why is my name on the birth certificate instead of yours?" That almost earned me a punch to the face, and it did lead to a drunken visit by both of them at the end of the night. He showed up to fight my ex and then decided to make everything public, going on Facebook and bragging about his new girlfriend. Our friends were shocked and reached out to me and his wife about it. I made sure to grab all the screenshots I could. She doesn't seem to care about the whole ep she's dug for herself with our upcoming divorce. Then again, why should she? I already got her with a paternity test. At the end, I became self-destructive. I kept wondering what I could have done differently or better. She blamed me for not being around, but how could we have survived if I wasn't working 2 jobs? I didn't clean when I got home because I was too tired, and she was screaming at me about the trash. Meanwhile, the kids had colored on all the walls, torn down blinds, and punched holes in the walls under her watch, but not taking out the trash after working. 16 hours was the problem. The worst part was that I wanted my family back so badly. I was convinced it was my fault. It took me a while to see the reality of it all. Everything changed when my brother pushed me to play in his band. Even though I declined at first, he insisted I meet the other members and decide then. That moment shifted everything for me. I still said no initially, but I started building friendships with them and ended up casually dating a friend the rhythm guitarist introduced me to. I quickly fell in love with this woman, 45. And it was such a relief to be in a caring relationship with someone who wasn't constantly screaming and hitting me. Throughout this time, as I mentioned, my ex still had the keys to our apartment. She would occasionally let herself in to drop off things for the kids. The first time she did this, while my new girlfriend was there, it didn't go well. She called me that night, demanding to know who my girlfriend was, and why she was in our apartment. I enjoyed telling my ex that my girlfriend was none of her business. She moved on, left me, and was living with someone else, in the last few months. My ex has become erratic over my new girlfriend, and has even started stalking her. My ex sent my girlfriend a Facebook friend request, and demanded she accept it. When my girlfriend refused, my ex called me, screaming that I needed to tell her to accept because she had to see what kind of person my girlfriend was. Since I was having our kids around her, my girlfriend grabbed the phone from me and told my ex she didn't have to add her as a friend. Any communication about the kids could be done through Messenger or phone calls. My ex did not and would not have access to our private life, friends, or family because she wasn't part of my girlfriend's personal world. This did not sit well with my ex. My girlfriend showed me a sudden burst of friend requests she received from people connected to my ex. Then my ex began letting herself into my apartment every weekend. When I wasn't home at work, I was on the phone with my girlfriend, who was staying with me, when we heard my ex walk in. My girlfriend asked if she needed something. My ex said she wanted to check how much milk I had in the fridge for when the kids came over. My girlfriend told her we had it covered, and my ex left. When I got home, I demanded the apartment key back, since she wasn't living there anymore. She then took my son's keys and made copies for herself. When my lease was up, my girlfriend asked me to move in with her so we could distance ourselves from my ex. My ex did everything she could to stop this, even calling the police to say I was leaving with her belongings. When asked what belonged to her, she couldn't name anything. Left in my place now, we get the kids every other weekend. I was told by my children that they aren't allowed to talk about what they did with me because she doesn't want to hear it. That didn't last long. Now, she pumps my kids for all the information she can get. I'm sure it's jealousy. We live on the beach, and my girlfriend is very well off. When we have the kids, we take short walks to the boardwalk to ride rides, let them play on the beach, or visit the aquarium. If they come home with prizes, my ex throws them away. The problem with my ex is that lately, when she drops off the kids, she dresses and looks very similar to my girlfriend. She dyed her hair and cut it to match hers. Whatever we do with the kids, my ex rushes to do the same thing the following week. If we go to the beach, she takes them there. If we go to the zoo, she takes them to the zoo. If she finds out what we had for dinner, she makes the same meal and forces the kids to tell her who they liked better. Last week, my son asked to live with us because he said my ex was crazy. You better believe I'm using all this in court. Just when I thought things couldn't get any crazier with her. The other night, she started texting me, "Bears, what the hell?" My girlfriend was sitting right next to me when the messages came. I immediately got defensive and told my girlfriend I didn't ask for those texts and that my ex and I aren't talking like that. I even offered my phone to show her. I wanted to see for myself, so I went through the messages. My girlfriend looked at the pictures and asked for my ex's number so she could text her back her own bears to show her how it's done. She called my ex and asked what the hell she was doing. I told my ex that my girlfriend was right there beside me, had seen the messages, and was angry. My ex tried to say she meant to send the texts to someone else. My girlfriend responded by pointing out that my name was at one end of the alphabet and her boyfriend's name was at the other. Then she asked who the new guy was if the messages were really meant for someone else. My ex just hung up. I really don't know what game my ex is playing. It's all just crazy to me. Let me clear up a few things because comments keep popping up as if I'm still living there. 1. My girlfriend didn't actually send any bears back. That was just her sarcastic reply to what my ex had done. The pictures were of my ex with her shirt off, making duck faces in a mirror, holding her phone. My girlfriend simply joked about my ex's lack of creativity. 2. I don't live in the old apartment I shared with my wife anymore. I moved in with my girlfriend. Even though I took the keys back from my ex, she took my son's keys and used those to keep breaking in. She does not have access to my new place, and for that reason, my kids don't even have keys. 3. I'm currently fighting for custody of my kids. It's not easy, since I'm not the biological father of my daughter. But I'm fighting based on the birth certificate that lists me as her father, which gives me parental rights. For my ex was prescribed medication, but I seriously doubt she's taking it. 5. I check my kids for bruises to make sure they're not being abused. She made the mistake of getting physical with her boyfriend, and he punched a hole in the wall and told her if she raises a fist again, he'll fight back. Update. 1. This past weekend was my daughter's official 6th birthday. It wasn't my weekend to have the kids, but, shockingly, my ex asked if I wanted them for the birthday. Of course, I took them, and I was even granted an extra 2 days. I figured they had plans and were pawning the kids off on me so they could do whatever. But what struck me was that this was the first time he could celebrate his daughter's birthday. And instead of doing something special as her father, he gave her to me and my girlfriend. Anyone else think that's a bit messed up? Update 2, just an update, but I have to shake my head. On Saturday night, I got an angry text from my ex saying she hoped I was effing happy that I won. I know I shouldn't have engaged, but I asked what her problem was. She gave a nonsensical reply, then told me to go ahead and gloat times 10 because something had happened to her, and then accused me of being involved. When I asked what I was supposedly involved in, she avoided a direct answer and launched into a tirade about how all men are pigs and can't be trusted. From that, I figured 2 things. She was drunk off her meds again, and the idiot she left me for cheated on her. I didn't respond because when she's like that, any reply is just a fight. I chose not to get into it. I just read the texts and thought she got what was coming. She left me for my friend, who was married and had cheated on his wife 3 times. She was number 3. When I brought this up, as she was leaving me, she said she knew what she was getting into. I guess she thought she was the cure for his wayward ways. When she ran out of insults to throw at me, she turned her attack on my girlfriend, calling her ugly as F and saying I could have had any girl but chose someone ugly to replace her. My girlfriend is stunning, inside and out. My ex is extremely jealous of my new girlfriend. As I mentioned in earlier posts, my ex has taken to stalking my girlfriend and trying to change her own appearance to look like her. The attacks continued, with my ex telling me I don't love my new girlfriend and that it's impossible for me to fall in love with the first woman I dated after losing her. My ex and I had been apart for a year when I met my no girlfriend. It took time for me to feel comfortable trusting someone again, and that trust had to be earned, wasn't given easily. Then my ex followed up by claiming that I only loved my girlfriend because I lost my apartment and was kissing my girlfriend's ass for a place to live, as she so charmingly put it. According to her, it's only love when you're homeless. I had my own apartment across the street from my ex because she decided to stay in the complex to flaunt the fact that she left me for my friend right in my face every waking minute. When my lease was up, I decided to move in with my girlfriend and transfer my job there. I knew my ex was trying to provoke a fight, but I wasn't giving her the satisfaction. Just when I thought my ex's attacks couldn't get any more stupid or childish, she told me she was sorry she wasn't enough for me. I wanted so badly to call her and scream that it was me who wasn't good enough for her. She left me, or did she forget which one of us walked out the door and which one replaced the other with someone else? She left me for a married guy who cheated repeatedly on his wife. Real winner, right there. Then she attacked my girlfriend again, saying that we both knew it was my ex she really wanted to be with, that my girlfriend couldn't compete or hold a candle to her. At that point, I'd had enough and told her to contact me when she was better and sober. I turned my phone off. Hours later, when my girlfriend came home, she asked what was wrong. I warned her she was going to get mad and handed her my phone to read the messages for herself. She read them and just laughed, shaking her head, then handed my phone back and said, "Looks like he cheated." I said it seemed that way, and tried to reassure her, thinking the ugly comments might make her doubt me. They didn't even faze her. She told me my ex's narcissistic ways really come out full-blown when she's drunk. And she bet my ex was upset because she couldn't come to me for revenge, to get back at him. I haven't heard anything else from my ex since. My guess is, like usual, the next day she looked back at those texts, realized what she did, and felt stupid. I also bet she's back with him, because she can't stand being alone. 20 years of her abuse have had a lasting effect that I'm still trying to work through. No matter what I did, I was wrong. When I was right, I was wrong for disagreeing with her or making her feel stupid. I see now that was a narcissistic guilt tripper. Lot of it, subconscious, and I wasn't even aware that I was walking on eggshells. If my phone goes off, I instinctively say who it is and show my girlfriend the screen. I did that in the past to avoid fights and accusations. I don't have to do it anymore, but it's a hard habit to break. When I do it, my girlfriend usually doesn't even look, but says, "You're doing it again." That's the messed up part. If she doesn't look, I feel like she didn't verify I'm telling the truth, and I worry it might open me up to an attack later. I know it won't, but breaking that habit is tough. There's so much internal stuff I'm unraveling. Eventually, I'll get there. But that's the hardest part, isn't it? Recovering from all of it, not just the cheating, but unlearning the control that was used on you. Just when you think you've got it back, you get into a new relationship, and the floodgates open. You find yourself doing what you did in your last relationship to avoid conflict in the new one, instead of just being yourself. It really is a long road to recovery. Update 3. As of my last update, my ex got cheated on by the guy she left me for. As I predicted, they got back together 3 days later. I expected she has no one else to fall back on. And now she's stuck with him. For the most part, ever since that last incident, I haven't heard anything from her outside of signing a few divorce documents and communicating about the kids. I'm thankful for that. But I know it won't last long before she gets drunk and I receive another drunken rant accusing me of being the ultimate piece of crap. Halloween. My band was asked to perform at an event one of my friends sets up every year. I've been doing it for a few years now, and it's a tradition. My ex used to attend with me, but she didn't last year, because that was the year I found out she was sleeping with my best friend, and that my now 6-year-old daughter was actually his ear. She wasn't invited to the party, but she showed up anyway with the boyfriend she left me for, who had cheated on her and on my kids. I was furious. Kids aren't allowed at these parties since they're adults only, and she knows that. I strongly believe she showed up with him to try to get me thrown out. Security kept telling her she couldn't come in. But she stood there arguing, saying the kids wanted to see their father play. Security told me I needed to get them out, while she screamed at me, accusing me of putting a party over my kids. The friend throwing the party came down and told her she could stay and watch me do 2 songs, but after that, she had to leave or he would call the police. I told my friend not to give in to her, but he said he was just doing it for my kids. It wasn't a good night. I was on stage and didn't know everything going on, but I got some clues when I went between sets. I found out my ex tried to clash with my girlfriend and it didn't end well for her. My girlfriend put her in her place and called her out for using our kids to play games. Many people witnessed this. When I walked off stage, several people told me what happened and pointed out where they were. When I got there, whatever fight had happened was over, but my ex was staring daggers at my girlfriend from across the room. My daughter humiliated my ex by loudly telling everyone she has to dad's me and her mummy's boyfriend, who is actually her real dad. That made my ex even more humiliated. She said, "Thanks for making me sound like trash," and left after that. My son refused to go with her and fought to stay with me. My ex had her boyfriend find my girlfriend to ask if we could keep my son, and she agreed. They worked it out with my friend, so my son stuck close to her for the rest of the party. We took him home the next night. My nerves were shot all night. I must have apologized to my friend, my girlfriend, and my son 1,000 times for dragging them into it all. I messed up every song because I kept scanning the crowd, worried a fight would break out. I didn't know until after I got off stage that my ex had left and abandoned my son. When I took him home the next night, she purposely wasn't there. Her boyfriend told me she knew I was coming to drop off my son and wanted to avoid a confrontation about what happened. He apologized to me and tried to talk about her behavior. I told him I wasn't getting into it and left. Later that night, my son called me to say they were fighting badly over me. Her boyfriend had had enough of her drama and accused her of not being over me. He asked her what bothered her more, that I moved on and she couldn't get back with me, or that if she hadn't left me when she did for him, I might have eventually left her for my girlfriend. According to my son, that's what started the fight. I could hear them screaming in the background, and I asked my son if he wanted me to come get him. He said no. I talked to him until things calmed down. That's just what's going on with me right now. Still going through the divorce, still moving forward. I no longer look back at what I lost, I just need to get my kids out of that environment. And yes, I'm still fighting to do that. Update 4. My 6-year-old daughter kept talking about the elf at my soon-to-be ex-wife's house. So, my girlfriend bought one for hours and set it up, thinking my daughter would be excited. She even sent a friend to watch her while she was here, but my daughter's reaction was alarming. The moment she saw the elf, she became furious. She started screaming at it, telling it it needed to leave or she would tell Santa that it was bad, and lying. She threw a tantrum unlike any other, shouting for the elf to go away, or else she'd tell Santa on it. My girlfriend tried to calm her down by saying the elf wouldn't lie. If she behaved, the elf would tell Santa she was good, but if she was bad, the elf would tell Santa that to not going to lie, so all she has to do is be good. My daughter bared her teeth, gave my girlfriend a look that could kill, and growled, "He's going to tell on me." What the hell? I had so many thoughts racing through my head at that moment. Why is she scared of this elf, but not of her mother? How many lies is she screaming at home that my ex is just ignoring? What else is my ex overlooking? I've had problems with my daughter lying. She likes to claim that her brother hits her when he's not even near her, and we've been working on fixing that. I brought it up to my soon-to-be ex-wife, and she said she's aware and handling it. Today, when I dropped the kids off, I plan to confront her about what happened with the elf, because something tells me there's more going on there. I don't want to overthink it, but I feel like something's seriously wrong. I want to get my daughter into therapy, because it's clear there's more going on than I realize. Something's definitely wrong over there. Edit. I already know that at her mum's house, my daughter is the princess because her real father is there, and she can do no wrong. I also know that he gives my son hell just because he's mine. My girlfriend and I talked to the kids today about their behavior. We asked my son if my daughter does this lying and troublemaking at home. He said not as much, which left us wondering why she does it. We asked my daughter why she lies about her brother, and she got defensive, saying he does hit her, that he just did. When we asked when that happened, she said just a minute ago. But he wasn't even in the house. He was taking the trash out and hadn't been near her all day. He avoids her because of the lying. When we pointed out she was lying, she got angry, raised her fist at my girlfriend, and threatened her. I took away her TV and video games, and asked why she misbehaves and doesn't behave. She looked at me and growled, because I don't want to. Looks like I've got to step up the discipline because I'm not having this crap. Update 5. My daughter's freakout over the elf on the shelf unleashed a flood of bigger problems. I investigated why she reacted so strongly and fell down a pretty deep rabbit hole. To recap, over the weekend, my girlfriend and I got my daughter an elf on the shelf since she kept talking about how much she loved the one at my cheating soon-to-be ex-wife's house. When she saw the elf, my daughter became enraged, screaming that it had to go because it was going to tell Santa on her. This raised the question, why is the elf at her mother's house fine, but ours is a problem? I asked, but got no answers. We went to dinner with my girlfriend's ex-stepmother. My girlfriend's father cheated on her mum, but my girlfriend sided with her stepmother and stayed close with her, despite the divorce. This does wonders for my trust issues with my soon-to-be ex-wife, because I see where my girlfriend's moral compass stands through this relationship. During dinner, the stepmother briefly mentioned the abuse my girlfriend suffered at the hands of her stepfather on her mother's side. My son visibly reacted but said nothing at the time. On the way home, he opened the floodgates about what's been going on at home. I didn't see that coming. It seems the ex-wife of my soon-to-be ex-wife's boyfriend has been handling the affair between her husband and my wife with extreme hostility and vengeance. She wants blood and is doing everything possible to make their lives miserably, including using her kids to attack my son because he's the son of the woman who took her husband. These kids, in turn, think it's funny to teach their half-sister, my daughter, who is really their dad's daughter, to attack my son too. When I asked my daughter, she said it's a game. When I told her it's not fair to her brother, and it's mean, not a game, she started crying, saying I didn't want her to have any fun. Then she threw a tantrum. I told her it's going to stop. She rolled her eyes and said, but I don't want to. It's fun, what the heck? I informed her that if it continues, punishments would come. I'm not tolerating it anymore. If she mistreats her brother, I'll take away everything. No TV, no toys, no video games. That earned me another meltdown, but I'm not backing down. When I dropped my kids off, I asked my ex what the hell was going on. I confronted her with what I'd been told. She admitted the other woman, Obes, has been doing everything in her power to make their lives miserable. The Obes knows their side schedules for their jobs and has been sabotaging them, which has been hitting them financially. She warned me Christmas was going to be ugly on their end because of it. I told her about the other woman's kids being coached to abuse our son and training our daughter to join in. She responded with, there's only so much I can do. I can't watch them all the time. I told her if she's aware of it, she needs to do something, because it's a problem when the mess happening there spills over into my house. I know she's not doing a damn thing. None of the kids are being disciplined. My daughter thinks it's okay to act up at my place and is still learning that actions have consequences, something I have to reteach her every other weekend because I don't have her enough to drive the point home. So every other week, it's back to square one. That now explains why she fears our elf and not the one at her mum's. Nothing's being done. Now I have a new problem. The OBS is making life hell for all of us. Yeah, I'm bringing this up in court. My kids are being abused by the other woman's kids because of this, and you better believe I'm using it. Edit. I'm going for custody of both my kids, not that I wasn't before. But this gives me more to work with now that I know what's really going on in that household. In a way, it explains the elf situation. My daughter doesn't fear the elf there because there are no consequences for her behavior. She's allowed to misbehave, and no one does anything about it. She feared my elf because she knows she gets in trouble at my place. I always suspected my ex wasn't doing anything about my kid's behavior on her end. This confirms it, the way my daughter reacted, what my son said, and what my ex herself admitted. There's only so much I can do. Well, plenty if you wanted to. Since she won't handle it, it's up to me. I'm using this in court. Update 6. Today, it officially ended. We had the Zoom court call to finalize everything. I went through it in a haze because I'd thought about this day a million times over the last year, and here it was, actually happening. It took 5 minutes, only 5, neither of us contested it. She wasn't asking for anything. Not that she could after the paternity test. They asked me a couple of quick questions, mostly not directed at me. They asked if there was a chance to save the marriage. I said no. They asked if I wanted to proceed with the divorce. Today I said yes. It amused me how they asked her if there were any domestic issues or abuse, and she said no. I wasn't asked that at all. I found it interesting. I got hit plenty, but it wasn't even an issue. I guess in the end, that didn't matter because the result would be the same. It's over. All that's left is family court for custody of the kids. And with what's going on right now, it's leaning more and more in my favor. She waited exactly 5 minutes after the court ended to post it all over Facebook. I know because my phone blew up with screenshots from friends telling me about it. She mentioned how divorce is hard, but said we need to set a good example for our kids. She even tagged me that was a mistake. My friends called her out on how it would set a better example by not immediately posting on social media for attention and likes. I guess I can't say much. I'm telling strangers about it here. But I waited several hours before posting anything, and none of you personally know me. It's over, and honestly, I'm not sure how I should feel. I just feel blank. Update 7. It's been a while since I said anything, and I thank everyone for reaching out. I've just been in a mood with everything going on and wasn't up for updating. My divorce was finalized last month, so that's one obstacle down. For the most part, it was a good Christmas, except my ex lost her job. The other man she moved in with isn't making enough to cover expenses and came to me for help with the kids. I wanted to tell her to kick rocks since she waited until 3 days before Christmas to mention it. My girlfriend and I scrambled to find suitable gifts after most stores were picked clean before anyone, she tells me. I shouldn't have done a thing and let my kids see her for the trash she really is. I wanted to, I almost did, but I can't do that to my kids on Christmas. I told her this is a one-time help, and I won't be helping her again. When she came to pick up the presents, she asked to come inside to see where the kids slept. When I said it wasn't a good idea, she told me it wasn't a request that she needed to, and that it was her right. When she tried to step around me, my girlfriend got right in her face and told her she wasn't stepping foot in her house. If she had concerns, she should make some calls, but she'll never be allowed inside my girlfriend's place. My ex backed down. I spent the rest of the night calming my girlfriend down from wanting to tear my ex's face off. The best way I can explain it is my girlfriend has my ex completely locked out. My ex tries, fails miserably, and screams to anyone who'll listen that it's unfair she's cut out. When the kids are with me, our life doesn't involve her and isn't her business. My girlfriend has made that loud and clear. My ex has no place in our lives. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I let my girlfriend take the reins in this situation. She's immune to my ex, and much better at calling out her crap than I am. Where my ex tries to challenge and manipulate me, my girlfriend is an unmovable rock. My ex hasn't tried any games since then. I got my kids into therapy because things have escalated. We put a camera in the living room, which has caught a lot of my daughter's lies. Her punching my son, and screaming that he hit her when he didn't. We've confronted her, and she's starting to learn the lies won't work here. My son is frustrated with how long the court process is taking, and struggles with not being able to live with me full-time yet. He's very bonded to my girlfriend, so I have no worries there. They don't clash, which is a relief. But at his mother's, he's acting out, screaming, punching walls, arguing. I know he wants out of there, and I'm doing everything I can to make that happen. I know it will. All that aside, I have a new problem. My girlfriend's ex-boyfriend is suddenly stalking her. Hilariously, I found out about this from another ex-boyfriend of hers, my bandmate, who introduced me to her. This guy went crazy the other night when told by the other ex that my girlfriend is happy she's moved on and that he needs to let go and find someone new. His response: he crashed his car into a guardrail, trying to destroy himself. There's so much crazy in my life. Don't know if I should laugh, cry, or sell tickets. So, that's what's new with me. Update 8. D-Day was over 2 years ago. The divorce was finalized 4 months ago. She's still with the other man, and I moved on a year ago. For the most part, my life is so much better without her. It's 2 years later, and I'm still finding stuff out. There was another friend of mine she slept with before the other man. I wish I could say that didn't sting a little, but it did. It just pushed the timeline for how long I was a fool. So, I missed the signs twice. I know my daughter isn't mine now. I'm wondering if my son is. He doesn't look like me. None of his features are mine. Not all his features are hers either. As much as I wonder, I also wonder if I really want to know. I don't think I can take that blow a second time. Ignorance is bliss, right? I try to put as much of her behind me as possible. It's difficult when kids are involved because I'm stuck co-parenting until they're 18. I tried to go grey rock, thinking we could be amicable. I wanted to show the kids we could come together for them. Interestingly, the guilty ones are Always on the attack, constantly trying to shift blame even after it's all said and done. Even more interesting, she thought she could still control me and call all the shots. When I didn't give in, she lashed out and attacked. She tried her tactics on my girlfriend, and long story short, she learned to stay clear of her. My girlfriend is a force to be reckoned with, and dealing with a sociopathic narcissist isn't her first rodeo. I know that in the end, I came out on top. I have a new life, a new job, a new home, and new love. I'm doing far better than my ex, who is dealing with the fallout from her actions. Not only did my ex destroy our life together, she ruined the other man's life too. His ex-wife is going above and beyond to make their lives a nightmare. I'm sad to say this affects my kids, as their lives are completely turned upside down by that circus. The AP's wife is the perfect example of hell hath no fury. She hit them hard financially, and my ex has come to me crying poverty a few times already. She lost her job 6 months ago and still hasn't found work, choosing instead to live off her AP, who is himself being squeezed dry by his ex. I don't feel sorry for either of them at all, but I hate what it's doing to my kids. I do what I can for my kids, but only for my kids. I won't give her money, but I will cover whatever they need. I'm not giving her the chance to go drinking with my cash. That's who she is, and part of the reason she got fired. Yes. I'm working on fighting for custody of my kids even. The one who isn't biologically mine, I need to get them away from her. My son has developed a deep resentment toward his mother and it's her fault. She's the one who told him why we were divorcing. He knows his sister is the AP's child, and makes sure everyone knows it. He told my girlfriend before I could. I was trying not to unload all my problems on her, as a newly divorced father already carrying a lot of baggage. But my son is angry. On the bright side, his bond with my girlfriend is ironclad. She's his best friend. My daughter is like her mother. She lies, manipulates, pulls the same tricks, and reacts the same way when things don't go her way. She's learned from the best. The cameras we installed at the house have been very useful for catching her in lies. She loves accusing people of being mean to her, and especially loves accusing my son of hitting her. But the cameras show her running up and hitting him, then screaming that he hit her. After we confronted her with the footage, she had a meltdown from being caught. Since then, she stopped accusing him of hitting her. Now we're catching her sneaking into things she's not supposed to and playing one side against the other, saying someone said she could have something when they didn't. That's another reason the cameras are there. Officially, they're for home security, but I'm using them for my own peace of mind. If my daughter falls and gets a bruise, my ex screams child abuse. She even tried accusing my girlfriend of hurting my kids. The truth is, my daughter decided to dive off the couch trying to make it to a chair because she was playing the floor as lava. So I sent my ex the video showing exactly what happened, and we addressed the injury as it occurred. That went on for a few weeks before my ex finally got the message, no one is hurting the kids, and we have proof for every bump and scratch. I know it sucks having to take things to that level by putting up cameras, but it brings me peace of mind knowing my ex can't play those games against me. It also helps a lot when I'm at work and my girlfriend is home alone. I can check in to see what she's doing, reading a book, watching a movie, or playing video games online with my son or her little brother, who is the same age as my son. Having the cameras helps me manage my trust issues,